Welcome back. In shallow water off Charles County lies the nation's largest collection of shipwrecks.
Well, recently our Patricia Villone and photographer Ara Laughlin had visited the region for a haunting encounter, and she joins us now to talk more about it.
Well, haunting is really kind of a misnomer because it's actually quite a fascinating and beautiful area there. But we want to let you know it was during World War I when a fleet of wooden steamships were hastily built to protect the East Coast. But the war ended before most of those ships sailed. By the end of the fighting, there was no market for the ships, so they ended up in a small waterway known as Mallows Bay.
When people go down to kayak, they like to see the boats, but they like to see the turtles and stuff on them. And it's the eagles, bald eagles, osprey.
Raymond Jarbo is the senior park attendant for Mallows Bay, a beautiful area of the Potomac River known for great fishing and wildlife. But come visit any morning at low tide and you'll also find a treasure trove of underwater artifacts. There's nothing like a foggy morning to give this historic collection of shipwrecks an eerie feel. Perhaps that's why they call it the Ghost Fleet of the Potomac.
They were built as part of the World War I effort. It was a civilian build, it was a civilian effort. And unfortunately, not knowing when the war was ending, they'd started building them and then the war ended. And they were committed to finishing, although a greatly reduced number. It was never 1,000, it came out to about 231, something like that, vessels were built. We have almost 100 of them here in Mallows Bay.
These are the last wooden steamships built for World War I, and Mallows Bay now contains the oldest and largest collection of these ships in the New World.
The part we're looking at right here, this is one of the barges that was used, and they're 260 feet to 300 feet long. And during World War II, Bethlehem Steel built this burning basin. It's like a large lock. Close it off, or float the ships in, close it off, and then burn them down for the metal for the World War II effort. But after a dozen ships, they said, this isn't cost effective, and it just kind of moldered. So there are still vessel remains in here. The few at the back are more modern. It was the litter mentality. Someone else left their ships here, you can leave yours here too.
Ironically, this ghost fleet of a bygone era has become a shrine of sorts for ecotourism. The 14-square-mile area of Mallows Bay already receives state protection and is also listed in the National Register of Historic Places. In 2014, former Governor Martin O'Malley nominated the site to be a national marine sanctuary. And just last month, President Obama voiced his support for the idea. The Chesapeake Conservancy has created a virtual tour of the location as one of the partners in the project.
A wonderful place for striped bass. Of course, the shipwrecks have created this terrific habitat for striped bass. Osprey, which are like the ambassadors of the Chesapeake Bay, 6-foot wingspan, these beautiful birds that fish and catch fish with their talons. There's osprey nests on the tops of these shipwrecks, which is really cool. Herons, there's lots of herons around here, and eagles and ducks.
The coalition says it hopes to dedicate the site as a national marine sanctuary in April 2017. Both Earth Day and Archaeology Month fall in April, and it will also be the 100th anniversary of when the U.S. entered World War I. And there will be an information gathering meeting regarding Mallows Bay tomorrow, November 10th from 6:30 to 9 p.m. at the Annapolis Maritime Museum. The address is 723 2nd Street in Annapolis, and the meeting is open for public comment.
Fascinating.
Yeah, it really was. We really enjoyed that story.
And I should say the piece was really good, but I got to give a huge shout out to Ara Laughlin. That was beautifully shot.
He really did. Went out on the kayak. Tough shooting out on the kayak, but he did a wonderful job with that.
Yeah.
You know, and what's fascinating about this story is that these shipwrecks have actually created some natural reefs for the rest of the environment. The ecological side of it is, you know, there is some advantage to it. You'd think they'd be polluting the water, but it's not.
Great.
Wow.
Great piece,
Absolutely
Patty.
fascinating
Thank you so
story.
much.